Hi, I'm Mal from the Muddy Study, and I'm bringing you another episode in the Ultimate PSS Education Series. And this one is number 3. It's called What is Your ABM, or your Accrued Benefit Multiple? Before we kick off, there's my usual disclaimer: facts and figures only in today's session. This is not advice, it's information only. So, in the previous episode, we talked about a client who effectively was contributing 10%. And when they did a 10% contribution, they received 10% as a matching contribution from their employer. They also received an 8% basic contribution and that thing called productivity of a further 3%. So they received 31% going into their scheme. So what the PSS do is they take that level of contribution and then they convert it into a decimal or a multiple. Literally, if you remember from your high school maths, just divided by 100. So your 31% becomes a multiple or a decimal, 0.31. That 0.31, that decimal there, now represents your ABM, or your accrued benefit multiple. Now, hopefully you know what level of contributions you are doing, what rate of contributions. So on this chart, you'll see there for the various different percentage of the contribution, the multiple you should be receiving. Now, there are 2 columns on the right hand side there, under 10 years and over 10 years. For the bulk of you, just look at the over 10-year column. There is a session coming up called the 10-year rule. And for anyone who has done less than 10 years cumulative, meaning that you might have done 3 years and then gone away and come back and done another 5, you've done 8 years. Therefore, you would need to look at that middle column, the under 10 years. But for the bulk of you, assuming you've done more than 10 years in the PSS, just let you look at that right-hand column, and that's your multiple for the year, providing, of course, that you've done that contribution for the entire year. So if you've done 7% all year, then your multiple would indeed be 0.25. Now, of course, if you are increasing or decreasing your contributions throughout the year, that will have an impact for your ABM for the year. So obviously, if someone's doing 10% each year, their multiple is going to increase by 0.31 every year. If they do 2 years of that, then there'll be 2 lots of that. So therefore, their multiple after 2 years would be 0.62. But if you did half a year of, say, 5%, which is normally 0.21 for the year, and then you did the remainder of the year at 10%, you increased your contributions up to 10, which would normally give you a 0.31, then your total for the year is just the prorated amounts of those two amounts. So the 0.21 halved, the 0.31 halved, added together gives us a total there of 0.26. So this is how your multiple is just growing. You're just continuing to grow every year depending upon your contributions. Now, to help us out to calculate what we are finally going to end up with, I've created a worksheet. Now, if you'd like a copy of this worksheet, please just email us there at admin@themoneystudy.com.au for your free copy. And throughout these sessions, I'm going to be referring back to this worksheet, because by the time we get to, I think it's row 22 or something similar, by the time we get to the bottom of the worksheet, we will have calculated your benefit in net terms, what your pension is going to be on a fortnightly basis at the age that you have decided to retire. So it's the worksheet. We're going to take on the very first row, we're going to take your multiple for the year. So your full-time contribution is 0.31. So therefore, if that's what we're going to do going forward, and we're going to do 10% every year, that's our ideal, then we're going to put in 0.31 into that first row. So this little worksheet we'll keep on coming back to it, and I'll explain how it works as we go through the various different sessions. So that was our ABM. In the next session, we'll go into a little bit more detail about the ABM. I look forward to you joining me in the future sessions.